Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 10, Where to Find Clients as a Virtual Assistant.
Oh, it's a good one. I think the whole finding clients as a topic is something that, especially virtual assistants that are just starting out in business, this is their key. This is what they want to know the most, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where to find their clients. They've set everything up, they're ready to go, and then crickets. No one's contacting them. How come?
Yeah, exactly. And most people will, create an online presence and then just wait. And we see it all the time where virtual assistants, this is the major question. So over in our Savvy VA free Facebook group, we ask those who are coming into that group, what are their biggest struggles? And 60% of everyone who comes into that group, their biggest struggle is finding clients. So this is why we wanted to do this topic early on in our series so that we can, help those who are figuring out where the heck are they going to find clients for their VA business.
Yeah, where are these people hiding? These mythical creatures that are going to come and give us all this money so we can pay our bills and go on holidays and buy nice things. And, should say right now, shouldn't we, Joe, that there is no magic wand. Although we'd like to think of ourselves as virtual assistant fairy godmothers, unfortunately, we can't come into your business and wave a magic wand and boom, you've got, all of these organic leads coming in waiting for you to reply to. If only it was that easy.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where you've got to put in the hard work. You've got to think of this as a long-term strategy for your business, and you can't just sit back and expect that leads are going to come in organically, like you say. That's just not going to happen. There are some hard and out of your comfort zone things that you're going to have to do if you want to try and find those clients and project clients or ongoing clients. It's all the same. There's hard work that you need to put in.
And this is kind of the crux of where some virtual assistants then decide that actually running my own virtual assistant business possibly isn't for me. I'm not able to put myself out there in the way that I'm then, finding those clients. So instead, I'll go down I'm going to contract to an established virtual assistant business.
Yeah, absolutely, which we've talked about in another previous episode. So check that out. The contractor versus freelancer. If you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can put myself out there to try and find clients, then go have a listen to that episode. This is where we see that virtual assistants are hoping for this amazing, quick to implement technique that will have them bringing in lots of clients. And everyone wants that. Everyone wants that silver bullet, that magic wand to have those clients and leads coming in consistently. But I'm sorry, but we're here to tell you that is not going to happen. There is no silver bullet, but there's some key things that you can start doing so that you can then figure out where you're going to find these clients.
Absolutely. And it comes down to building relationships, doesn't it, Joe?
Yep, that is the fundamental, that's the secret. It's about building relationships. And if you think about it if you were going out to open up your business to someone and have someone have access to emails or credit card details or, your financials, you're going to choose carefully who is going to be that person to do that. And so that's the same for those who are looking for a virtual assistant. That's exactly what they're feeling, that nervousness, that loss of control, and they're going to buy from people who they know, like, and trust, because trust is huge with a virtual assistant and in this industry. If you can't build that trust, then nobody's going to hire you.
Oh, absolutely. It is key. It is absolutely key. As you said, clients, they pick people that they have that affinity with, they get a good vibe from you, they have maybe followed you on social media for a bit, but then once you've had that first kind of initial consult or discovery call, whatever you want to call it, with them, you've already built that a little bit of that relationship coming in before that call.
Mm.
But then that call is key. It's key to knowing whether or not you guys are going to be the right fit. So should we talk about where
Mm.
these clients are hiding?
Where they are hiding. So there's two places that you can find clients. There's online and offline. So if we talk about the offline stuff first, so that's the in-person, the people that you already know in your network, your friends, family. You might see them at a barbecue or a party or a get together. It could be people that you already know in business. It could be people at networking events. So going along to get in front of as many people as possible and to talk to them about what you're doing now and build that relationship. That's absolutely key. The
Hmm.
offline stuff is the easiest and quickest way to build a rapport and relationship with someone because you're face to face. They see you, they feel your energy, your vibe, and what you're all about.
And I mean, just this morning before hopping on and recording this episode, where were you, Joe?
Oh, I was at a BNI networking meeting. I almost forgot. Feels like so long ago now. I got up at 5:30, which I never do. I do not like getting up early. And yeah, drove in about 30 minutes it takes to get from my place in Upper Hutt to Wellington City. And I was then in a room of, I think it's around 40, it's quite a large BNI group, 40 business owners, and had the opportunity to stand up and do my 60 seconds. I was actually filling in for one of my team members. She is the member of this chapter, and it's a really, really key part of
Mm,
how we find clients, where we find them. All of the people in the BNI group are all essentially salespeople for us, and they send people our way and send leads. But they don't do that until they can trust that you're going to deliver
yes.
really good service and that you do a good job. So you need to have that social proof there and build those relationships with people. And being in BNI is definitely a long-term strategy. It's not until after, 12 months that you really start to get consistent leads in from a BNI group, because you need to build that trust and you need to build those relationships. You get a little flurry in the beginning because people are like, you're new, and that people are excited that you're in the group, and they're like, oh, I could get this done or I could get that done, and you start to do work for those who are in the chapter. And then it's about building the relationship enough that you're doing a great job for all of those initial leads that you get, and then you can then go on to get referrals from people that those chapter members then know and refer to you, because that's a
Mm.
whole nother level of getting leads through BNI.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, what does BNI stand for?
Business Networking International, something like that. Business Network International. It's a big international organization, and they have chapters, which are groups of people who all refer back and forwards to each other. Their motto is "Givers Gain," so it's about giving leads and referrals to everyone in your chapter, and in return, you get those leads coming back to you as well.
That sounds awesome. But, that's just one example, isn't it, of
Mm.
an in-person networking event that you could be attending. There's loads globally. And this is something that you've always done. This has always been a key strategy for
Mhm.
Strictly Savvy, isn't it? Going back from when you first started.
Yeah, absolutely. We started off in the Women's Venus networking group. Felt like we outgrew that, and yeah, started going along to a BNI group, and now we have two team members who go to two separate BNI meetings. One talks about graphic design, and one talks about virtual assistants. In those, so that we've got those both covered. Yeah, so it's networking has been one of the key places that we have found clients, and one of the key strategies that we've implemented right from the start.
We hear all the time, we don't hear all the time, but we hear quite often, oh, I've joined this group. I've been going along for 6 months, a year, sometimes more, but I'm just not getting any leads.
Mhm. you haven't managed to convey to those in your chapter clearly what the benefit is to someone hiring you as a virtual assistant and what you might be able to offer. And potentially your messaging in your 60 seconds
Mm,
hasn't hit the mark. People have got to remember you, and it's got to trigger something in them to think, oh, that would be really valuable. And
yeah.
we've talked about value in a previous episode, like knowing the benefits and why someone would use you is really key to be able to then convey that sort of messaging to people in your network.
Yeah. And for those that have worked really hard on their messaging and it's on point, it's really clear, you've niched, messaging is clear as crystal,
Mhm.
and you're still then not getting those leads, then I think my advice would be, is that the right group for you to be
Potentially,
in?
yeah.
Yeah.
You need to give it a while. Like this is a long-term strategy being in a networking group. My husband, he's in the same networking group as one of my team members, and he's been in there for like 16 years. And
Wow.
like that's a long-term strategy. And now all of the people in that group, lots of them have been there for more than 10 years. They refer back and forwards like crazy. It's always on their radar. They're turning up every week, and the leads flow all through that group because people have made the commitment to be in there and they've built those relationships, and they will be now
Mm.
like lifelong relationships that they have.
And we're seeing that in the virtual assistant network here in New Zealand. And I know there are other virtual assistant networks globally that have the similar feel. It's like those that really turn up and make the effort and
Mm.
build the relationships with their fellow VAs. That is an awesome way to then get referrals, because those virtual assistants, if they're freelance, if they're a one-man band, they often get fully
Mm.
booked, and then they're looking to help out these clients or these new leads by referring them onto other virtual assistants. Once again, they're only going to do that with another virtual assistant that they've built a relationship with and that they feel comfortable
Mm.
handing this client over.
Yeah, absolutely. Because your reputation is on the line when you refer someone to someone else. You only do that for people that you really trust that they're going to deliver well, they do a good job. And I think the other thing too is that those virtual assistants who potentially are booked out, but some who are not booked out, they might offer just bookkeeping, and
Mm,
you might offer graphic design or social media management. And often their bookkeeping clients might be like, "Oh, can you do this for me?" And they can say, "Actually, I have someone who I know and trust and would do a great job," and then they pass that lead to you. So absolutely. It's not just about building relationships outside of like the virtual assistant industry, but really important to build a relationship inside the industry as well.
yeah, we're seeing it already. We're seeing virtual assistants, those that are wanting to grow their teams here in the New Zealand virtual assistant network. The first people that they're shoulder tapping is those virtual assistants that they've built those really strong relationships with, and they've done that not only online within a Facebook group, but
Mm.
also the in-person opportunities, networking opportunities that they have. So I think we've covered the in-person building relationships, the in-person networking. Next would be online, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. And there's loads of places that you can find clients online. It's just that it's the same strategy. It's all about building relationships. It's just that you do it in a different way when you're online. And it's all about giving and providing value and educating and showcasing your skills and knowledge in a non-salesy way.
Mm, yeah, that's the key. And I know we talk about this all the time. It's like, don't be that person.
Mm.
Don't be that person that's only hopping on to say, you need to hire me. This is what I do.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
And it's about trying to build relationships with people online where you actually like maybe you're in the same Facebook group, but it's like taking that relationship offline or in a direct way where it's one-on-one and building that relationship even more and more than you can like just in a Facebook group publicly with other people.
yeah, so we're talking about Facebook groups. I know that this was the way that When I first launched and started, putting myself out there, I had a young baby at home, so I didn't have the time or the energy to be going out and doing the in-person stuff. That just wasn't going to be happening. I had a high needs prem baby at home, so with very little kind of support in terms of that easy babysitting thing that a lot of families have. bit harder. So I went down the online route. And it's really interesting. There are so many Facebook groups out there. So you've really got to, I found that I joined a whole heap, like too many probably. But it doesn't take long spending time in a group to know whether or not these are your people. Does it? It's like, I think within a few weeks, whether or not your ideal clients are hanging out there. B, the people that are hanging out there, do they value virtual assistants? Because some don't. Some are really anti-virtual assistants. As much as we love what we do and who we are, there's a lot of people out there that kind of have preconceived ideas about virtual assistants and the value that they provide.
Or they've had a really bad experience with a virtual assistant, and so it's put them off, and they've then tainted, every virtual assistant must be like that too. Yeah, and so like you say, it's about finding the place where your potential clients, your target audience are going to be hanging out, and like you say, where they are valuing virtual assistants and having conversations about virtual assistants. And it's not just about Facebook, it's about LinkedIn, it's about other social media platforms, and even online networking. So I've now been to a few Zoom online networking meetings, like for the purpose of networking. And they work really well as well. And if, like you, Sam, you were in a situation where you weren't in a position to go out in the evenings and go to networking events or early mornings, and so that suited you. So you had to try and adapt what you were going to do and do that online, and it's absolutely possible. There's some really fundamental things that you need to do if you're going to do that online. So it's about building relationships and giving without selling all the time. You can sell, but if you join a Facebook group and your first post is, hey, you should hire a virtual assistant, unless you're allowed to do that and do an intro post. But like if you're just going in there or like connecting with someone on LinkedIn, and then the first thing that you do is do your sales pitch, like that's not a good strategy at all.
No, it's not. Another thing that I found was not necessarily keeping it within the country that you reside in. I found some amazing overseas clients in networking groups that weren't based from New Zealand, America, the UK. So don't just limit yourself to the country you reside in, especially if you are wanting global clients.
Absolutely. Virtual assistants. With virtual assistants, there's just no borders anymore. You could be working for someone in any time zone and delivering any sort of online service to anywhere in the world, which is incredible that we now have such a huge market out there for us to tap into. It's just about doing that in the right way and building those relationships.
So we had a really cool meeting this week with a bunch of New Zealand virtual assistants. We hopped online and we all shared our kind of stories of where we found our very first client. And there was definitely some really strong themes that came through, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I think the easiest first client to get can be a previous employer or someone that you've worked with alongside a colleague who's now out on their own or something like that, where they already know how good you are. You don't have to sell yourself and your skills. You just have to sell the concept and what you might actually do for them and what the benefit would be. So you've already built the trust. They already know your capabilities. They already have that social proof because they are the social proof. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely the key theme that came through. I think without a doubt, every single person that shared their story this week with us, it was their first client was from somebody within their network, their
Mhm.
pre-virtual assistant world network.
Yeah.
So there were bosses, there were managers, there were colleagues that had gone out on their own. There were
Mum.
mums, I think aunties that,
Mhm.
were in business for themselves too. So calling on those people that you already know, you'll probably be really surprised just who could use your services.
Yeah, and I think often people think it's really scary to sell to those that already know you, but honestly, it's the easiest sale that you'll make because, like we say, they already know you, they already know your skills, and so you're just actually talking to them about the concept. And I think it's also getting comfortable with people not being interested in your services or that rejection and that saying no. The more comfortable that you can get with that, the
Mm.
better and more successful you're gonna be. So, yeah, and it comes with practice. So, the more no's you get and the more yeses you get, then the more comfortable that you have that mix of yes and no, in your VA business, and that it's okay that people don't wanna use your services or don't have a need or don't understand the value, like, that's totally fine, and get comfortable with that and move on to other people who do value your service and who do have a need.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we've talked about building relationships, whether it's online or in person, and this is definitely our way of saying this is what you need to be doing in order to get those first clients,
Mm,
especially. Now, from an established virtual assistant
mm,
point of view, I mean, you and I, we've both been in business for a while. You longer than me, even, and we're both finding that our current leads that are coming in, a lot are via word of mouth,
mhm.
but a lot are via organic, so SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's really important for those listening who don't have their first few clients that you don't take from what we're going to talk about next as like, oh, okay, this is easier, this feels safer, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to build a website, I'm going to work on my SEO, and then I'm going to get leads coming in. I promise you that is not going to happen initially. That's not how you get your first clients. However, if you're established and you are ready to create a website and you really want to start ranking well and get organic leads through your website, then yeah, absolutely, a focus on your SEO. I do a lot to try and improve SEO, keep on that first page, and tweak my website constantly because absolutely clients are searching for virtual assistant and whatever your country is, virtual assistant New Zealand, virtual assistant Australia, or the best or the top virtual assistant, or all of those things that people are searching around that finding a virtual assistant. Absolutely, if you can rank in the first page for that, then absolutely it's a great way of getting clients.
It is, and you and I, as you touched on, we've both spent a lot of effort putting, time, money, investment in learning about SEO. We're both on page one, but once you're on page one, ranking really, really well, as you said, you actually need to do a lot of work in order to stay on number one.
Absolutely. It's really competitive, that number one. And anyone who drops off number one onto page two, I bet that they, as soon as they notice that, they're going to be working hard to start ranking better and creating a blog and having more text and content for Google's crawlers to actually read and see that, right, really is about a virtual assistant, and has lots of keywords, and they're also doing things outside of their website as well and having links back and things in the media. Like, there's all sorts of things that can help improve your SEO on your website, which I'm sure we'll do an episode just on SEO
Mm.
at a later date. But yeah, absolutely, people are searching online for virtual assistants, and it's about being there in that search.
Yeah, and once you've got yourself, you're on page one, and you'll find that you've got this kind of all of these potential leads are coming in organically. It feels easy. It feels
Mm.
really easy, but once again, there's a lot of work that has gone in, months. We're talking months of work that's gone in to getting you to that point. So that is why it's about, when you're first starting out, it's about building relationships. If you think you're going to put all your eggs in an SEO basket and that's going to be the thing that's going to get you all these clients, well, you'll potentially never launch your business, because it's going to take you that long. Somebody's going to be in the background, in the lounge behind you going, well, have you brought in any money yet? It's like, well, no, because I'm waiting for all these magical people just to turn up in my inbox. It's not going to happen that way. So it's definitely, that route is if you have launched your business already, you've already got clients under your belt, via the building relationship technique. And then this is your next step when you are well established.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, website is key once you're established, and can be a great way to find leads. But yeah, where to find clients is all about that building relationships and finding them online directly and finding them in person directly. And it takes effort, it takes hard work, it takes consistency. And it is all about having the mindset of what you're doing, building those relationships, is a long-term strategy. So for those who are wanting to really understand exactly how you build those relationships and what you do to build those relationships and get those clients in, we have an incredible $27 bundle for how to find clients in uncertain times. Sam and I take you through a full video talking about the ways to find clients and how to find them. We have templates for getting in touch with people and reaching out to your network. We have an Airtable template where you can track your leads and use that as your first CRM system. And we also have a Trello board that has lots of clients or types of businesses that are thriving in this sort of uncertain times, the services that you could offer them, and how you actually find those clients. So an amazing bundle for just $27 New Zealand. So that link will be in the show notes. So check that out. If this is where you're at now in your business and you want to fast track exactly how you do this and how you find the clients, then jump on into that bundle. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing members club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.